And then the returns. So returns for commercial jobs are like, you have to be even more protective of the clothing on set and in returns, because usually it's from stores. So, I mean, I keep everything in garment bags. I keep everything hung up, even at my house. Sometimes I'll keep it laid down, but most of the time I try to put it in my closet, because it's like, I mean, sometimes I've had like $1 million worth of clothes from the boutiques here for one of my celebrities, and it scares me to death to even have all that stuff. And you know, if anything happens to any of it, it's my responsibility to pay for it. So it's so important to keep everything organized. And another thing, you know, that when you do the shopping, make sure that you create a status chart. And if anybody wants to see it, I like to do a chart that's with the budget, that just, it says where everything's from. And if you have time, do a picture of each thing, where it's from. It's so OCD, I know. But that way, at the end of the shoot, if for some reason your assistants change over and you have someone else doing returns, they can figure out where everything else goes and get it all back beautifully, and not with like a ton of crazy confusion. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any questions so far on commercial? Yeah.
It's basically what you said, that basically the client really can't imagine it all together. They never can, and that's usually a problem sometimes. And I should ask you, do you recommend, before they even see it, even in a fitting, you know, the whole thing together, or just like bones of the outfit?
Well, I mean, so the question was, you know, do you show them, present the whole thing, or just do the bones of the outfit to the art directors? I like to present the whole outfit, because, and the only time I don't is when I don't have everything there yet. Like, so with some of my clients, I'll fly to their headquarters, like outside of New York, and then we come here to shoot. And then when I'm there, sometimes I'm working with bare bones, but I put as much into the picture as I possibly can, because they're not, you know, we're able to create these visions, and we have these voices and these stories that they don't necessarily hold. So, and they're super literal. Not all of them. I've met 1 or 2 art directors who get it, who are just like, I trust you, go. Very rare. So the art directors really need to know that we, you know, the director, when they hire us, that's why they're like so concerned that we know what we're doing, is because they don't. They know what they're masters at what they're doing inside of their art direction. Just like the photographers master at what they're doing with all the technical stuff around photography and lighting. But you know, for us, it's really about, I really love to present the look totally head to toe. And hair and makeup if I can, but not always possible. But yeah, I mean, because you put it on, and then it's also a wow factor. So like, this is what we're paying for, you know? And they get that wow factor of the girl in the whole look or the guy in the whole look, and they're like, wow, I can't believe, you know, my favorite thing is like, oh, it's the Sally magic. And I just kind of started laughing, and I was like, what? They're like, you make things that look really, that are really cheap look really expensive. And it's like, on its own, it looks like one thing, but when you put it all together and paint the picture, it's such a different story.
That they just not like it because they just see like the jacket,
yeah.
The belt, and the scratch, and then, you know, whatever.
And sometimes, you know, and it's good, sometimes, you know, they're like, oh, I don't like it. And then I'm like, okay, let's talk about why. Because I need to know that in order to do the next look to replace it. It's like, oh, I hate the jacket. It's like, oh, okay, because you don't like any jackets, or you hate the color. It's like, oh, no, I just hated this jacket from the collection. I was like, oh, okay, well, she's got a really cute outfit on underneath, so let's just take the jacket off, and I can do like a couple more, you know, accessories or whatever. You know, it's like it becomes, you just open up the conversation. But you know what, sometimes it's hard. Some clients won't let you just do your own thing. And I struggled with that for a long time. Like, just leave me alone, you know, like, just give me my space. Just give me my space. And it took me a while. It's like the same courage that you have to stand up and edit, and to say, or to say, I don't think this is working. That same courage I use when someone's watching me work. Because it's like, I get into that I'm not entertainment, why are you watching me work kind of thing. But it's like, there.
I don't like to be at this point.
It's hard.
Even just starting, I don't like to be like watched doing my thing, because I just get like.
It's really uncomfortable.
Even when people are just watching you like the hair, like I feel bad for them almost there. You know what I mean? You can't really.
It'll go away.
Okay.
Just so you know, you'll get used to it. It's part of being a stylist. We get stared at. You know, Pardon?
I feel like it would be mostly by your assistant.
Your assistants are watching you, and like I'm like super okay with it because they're waiting for me to need something, which I'm like, yes, they're doing their jobs. Like when my assistants aren't watching me, I'm like freaked out. Or if I have to like, because then it's like I don't feel like my backup. It's like my wingman. Like my wingman's missing. But when I was working on a show with a stylist, big stylist at a huge luxury house, and this luxury house, once we were working with white crocodile. And we needed these gloves. We needed gloves for the assistants because if there was anything on your hands, it was getting on this white croc. These beautiful white croc jackets. They were so gorgeous. And so we needed gloves for the assistants to wear. And this place was so spoiled that I was like, oh, to the producer that was helping, I was like, oh, we need gloves. They bring in a pile of latex gloves on a silver platter by like a maid in uniform. And I was just like, that's so over the top. And so, that's the kind of luxury this place has, right? And the team was very luxurious too. Like the design team that we were working with on the show, and we'll talk more about shows, but the design team would all just sit around the table like this, smoking cigarettes and drinking their coffee and watching the stylist work. And she had just started, it was her first season, and they had been doing this for years. I was working with them producing for years. And so I thought that's, you just watch the stylist, that's what you do. And I do it because I'm taking care of them, because I'm assisting them, so I need to know, I've got to eavesdrop and find out what they need and all that kind of stuff. But so this team's like sitting there and she's like, and she just stops and she's like, I'm not a fucking puppet show. She's like, everyone get up and help me. Because, and they were just all like, what? She's like, I'm not a show, this isn't a show, I'm not entertainment. We're doing this together as a team. Like, get up, and she's major stylist. And it was just I just started laughing. I was like, thank God, you finally said something to them. Because, it wasn't like she was sitting with Marc Jacobs. It was like it was the main designer's design team. It was like, they're being paid a quarter of what she's being paid to be there. And they're all watching her like she's some sort of television show. And she's like, no, this is not entertainment. And I was kind of laughed about that, And then when I started working on my own, I was like, oh, I get it. It's really hard to be creative sometimes when you've got 1,000 people watching you. It's pressure. It's so hard.